1, 2, 3, 4.
And welcome back to another episode of Breakfast with Brothers. We have a lovely guest with us today.
What's up, party people? Here's our boy, here to introduce himself. Hopefully you guys give him a warm welcome. So, please, take it away.
Hi, my name is Eric Wortman. I'm from Vestal. My social security is 10. I'm just kidding, but thank you guys for having me on.
All right.
Yeah,
real
of
quick,
course.
though, if you jumped off of a 100-foot bridge, would you rather do that or live in a cave for 3 years?
Cave for 3 years, gotta be. Because I have a
Cave.
pretty good dive entry. Blow my brains out.
Eric used to be a swimmer, and he used to shave his whole body like a mole rat, and here we are today.
Listen, man, you got to be aerodynamic, or I should say hydrodynamic.
Yeah, I hear that's the secret, but I don't know. I also have never shaved my entire body, so...
Well, you're sitting next to a man that has. All right?
It does make me feel like butter going through the water, I'm not gonna lie. But that's another day.
Like butter.
like a knife through butter. Regardless, what are we talking about today, Ian? What are we putting the people onto?
Well, Eric came with a little topic today for us to discuss, and I believe it's like golf subcultures, right? Like, you know, other things to be doing while playing golf. If you want to consider that a subculture, I guess. I guess it is.
100%.
So what do we want to start with? What do we...
I was
Okay,
gonna say
no.
maybe we could go into one, and then obviously they branch into each other. It's golf. I mean, it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But he made a good point that we'll start with about people who like to cheat on the golf course. People that, for example, will walk around with a ball in their pocket while they're playing with their buddies. And it never even has to be for money. It could be like a situational thing where it's just like they try to convince themselves that it's totally fine. And they're just like, oh yeah, I found my ball. When in actuality, it didn't.
Actuality, they're both 10 feet into the actual out of bounds.
Yeah, listen, just be a man and just understand that you launched your ball straight into the woods probably 30 miles in, you know?
I have so much respect for people who are actually bad golfers and are okay with being bad golfers than people who are cheaters and claim to be good golfers. Like,
No, that's fair. Yeah, I know a lot of people that beat their scores, but Ian, you've never been a ball in pocket golfer, right? You've always been true to the word.
I've always been true to the word. If I launch it in the woods, you're going to see it. Like, you know, it's going to be noticeable. It's going to be extremely noticeable, and there's no, like, getting out of it. Unless the shot is forgiven, you know, unless it's, like, agreed upon by everyone else. Like, oh, yeah, take another shot. No, I've always played...
Right. Yeah. No. That's completely different though. Because that's golfers who agreed on something. You know, you're always an honest golfer. Otherwise, it's like I don't know. I'll give more of an allowance for people who golf like that. You know, because usually they're always helping me find my ball. You know, they're always playing mostly ball down, and they mark their ball. You know, without even having to ask. They repair stuff. They you know, divoting the fairway. Ball marks on greens and stuff like that. Like, they're the chillest golfers, so they're always going to be the people, dude, take another.
You did that on 10 to me when I pulled one to the left side where it's wet, and you were like, no, that shouldn't have been out. And I looked at you and I was like, what? Like, you had 8 heads. I was like, I can't believe you're actually doing this. So it was really nice. I still doubled that hole, but still.
That's besides the point.
Besides the point, no one worries.
No, yeah, I mean, I've played with a lot of golfers, like when I was playing on the high school team, and there was this one kid. So, obviously, for anyone who's never played, like, an actual, like, game of golf in the sense of, like, rules and regulations in play, if you, like, throw your club or, like, do anything, like, launching your club-wise, whether it's at your bag, off the green, into the woods, I've seen it all. And there was this one kid I was playing with, and for whatever reason, like, he was a pretty good golfer. Like, I think I was sitting at the 3 spot or something like that. And we get up to the green and everything. He, like, misses the putt for par, then misses the putt for bogey, and then misses the putt for, double bogey. And then after that double bogey miss, he takes his putter and just, like, his bag has, like, the little, like, tripod stand. He goes over to his bag and just, like, slams it with his putter, like, over and over again. And I was kind of keeping score for, like, me and my partner, and I have to keep their score, the other teams as well. And I walk up to him and I told him, I said, okay, so do you want, like, 3 extra strokes or, like, 2 extra strokes? Because every time you throw your club or, like, do anything with your club, I think it's like a stroke penalty. So I ended up giving him 2-stroke penalty. But yeah, that dude was.
I've been that mad golfer, like, but I don't know if hitting your bag or throwing your club after the swing is any stroke penalty. I know the PGA had that for a while, but they took that. I'm pretty sure they took that out like a few years back.
I didn't know that was a rule.
Yeah, if you toss your club, obviously that endangers anyone around you, or, if you're an actual pro, then, like, obviously you're not going to whip your club into the stands or something like that. But it's to prevent, like, I don't know, I guess, not really injury. Like, no one's going to really whip their club at someone unless they did something stupid. But I think it's, like, to promote, like, keeping the course nice and not damaging anything, which is understandable.
Butt launched it towards my bag and been like, but, like,
Well, that's a different story. This guy was.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's danger worthy. I feel like
Yeah.
if you're swinging and then you drop your club out of frustration, like, that's different than absolutely winging it out of your hand at someone or something, or somewhere that you didn't just swing your ball. But I still don't know if it's a stroke penalty. It might be if it's, like, intentional. Like, if you're trying
Let's see.
to... I don't know. I'm sure the USGA has some very specific attempts at what they're calling, like, frustrational club throws or something like that, but...
I told you I didn't like when our coworker, we were on the 10, he took his putter after, like, missing. I think they lost the hole and he grounded it, and I was like...
Yeah, he took his putter head and basically, like, yammed it into the ground, so, like, the shaft was sticking out, but the head was totally, like, stuck in the ground.
Yeah.
And he's done that before just to, like, leave a club and pick it up when he's done.
But it was like a foot into the
Yeah.
cup, so.
And these occasional ones, it'll be his mad swing, just straight into the ground.
Whoa.
So here it says, yes, throwing a golf club is considered serious misconduct and violates Rule 1.2a of the game.
Whoa.
So it's a 1-stroke penalty. Yep. Yeah, no, this kid was wailing on his bag, dude. I just had to throw it in there.
That's different from then just, like, releasing out of anger. Like, if you let go of it, like, during your swing or something.
I feel like that's
that.
worse.
I mean, it might be, but that's, like, more like a reaction, like, as in
There's
not like an intentional thing.
Oh,
but
you're
more
talking
like
about pro miss, like.
Yeah, like after you swing, like it falls directly behind you, or
That-
like, for example.
That is my least favorite thing, that when amateur golfers do the pro miss and they drop it behind them like a Scotty Shepard.
that is not considered, like,
done that
throwing.
And I've said something
That-
probably every time.
Anything like
What'd you
that
say?
isn't considered. I said anything like that isn't considered throwing. There's no intention behind it other than yourself. Where if
So
you're
it's about
whipping your club, yeah, if you're whipping your club or, like, obviously slamming your bag with your putter, there's intention behind it. No matter if you're, like, whipping it.
And that kid has anger issues, probably.
Was it repetitive even?
Yes. So, like, after the first, like, 3 holes where I kept adding on strokes for him, he finally stopped slamming his bags. But
I'm sure. Gotta send the message.
I just said, listen, I got up to my coaches and I said, listen, he was like, he just kept wailing his bag with his putter. I mean, I'm surprised it didn't break. So I said, I told him, I said I'd keep giving him strokes every time he wailed his bag or something like that. I don't want to play with a
It's funny
baby.
because most of the people who get frustrated like that are the same people who will only get that mad because they're getting called out for cheating or something like that. Like, those are the same
Yeah.
guys that are ball in pocket, or they're people that will go and hit a hole for, say they'll finish for bogey, they'll say it was a par. It was like, I forgot one of those strokes. Like if you call them out on it or something like that. Also, the same people who will happily like move their ball around, while no one's looking. The left right shoulder check. If they're playing ball down or like a tournament golf style in school or something like that. That was a big one too.
Yeah,
Those are those people for sure.
if we're not playing lift, clean, and place, you better not be doing that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
If
facts.
it's like fresh off like a 2-inch brain, I mean, lift, clean, and place. I don't want you hitting a mud ball 70 times during your 80 shot round.
Yeah, most times it's like I don't really care to lift, clean, in place as long as it's like if you're in the rough and it's just straight wet grass, then okay, yeah, obviously do what you need to do. But if you think you should just leave it, then leave it. I mean, I'm not the best by any means, but I still just follow the rules like anyone else should. But
Are there
I
some
don't know.
guys that I have that I wish I could, bump
Yeah,
around?
fluff around.
Yeah, absolutely.
I look at some
Without-
guys
without a doubt.
hitting out of a divot, and I'm like,
No, but it is important, I will say, to note that if we're playing for money matches or there is a tournament and the rules specifically say ball down, then obviously I'm playing like that. But if I'm playing with buddies and stuff like that, usually I'll just mess around with the club length. I'll lift the ball. Sometimes I'll just juggle it because I want to switch balls, whatever. But it gets to the point where if it's not for any money, you're not playing for seriousness. As far as I'm concerned, you can hit like 8 balls off the tee, and whatever one's the best one, it's like, okay, now you're playing stroke 2 from there. Perfect, like good shot. Because I've played with like people back home when I was still trying to like find people to play with, people that were new to golf. So it was like, I don't want you to feel like you need to go and take this as serious as possible because we're not playing for money. We're not in a tournament. We're just out here messing around. Like that's it.
yeah, no, I totally agree with that because, like, if you were to give somebody a hard time about that, oh, you're hitting shot, blah, 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 whatever, average, just 3 or 4 shots off the tee, I mean, that's a big turn-off, in my opinion, and that might stray somebody away from the game.
Great point.
yeah, absolutely. It's like golf is hard. Like even for people who have been playing, like golf is hard. I mean, it's just fun to play with friends because you can just fuck around on a golf course. I mean, to some extent, obviously.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
that's a whole other discussion, etiquette, and how to like maintain a good round without being an a-hole like for the entire time.
Yeah.
Of course, the classic etiquette is like the dress code, how you like tend to manicuring the tees and the greens, like after you hit a divot or if you
Pace
have a
of
big
play.
ball mark. Yeah, pace of play is another one, and then also like your volume, like you're not shouting, you're not like trying to get other people's attention on greens and tee boxes. You're not like ripping golf carts through and in front of people while they're teeing off, stuff like that. But it is it's not one of those things you could teach. Like you have to go out and golf with people and then see kind of how their mannerisms like line up with the game. Because you could just go to the course and be like, yeah, I know like how to do 2.5 things, like swing the club, get it in the hole, and then look for the next tee box. Like that's the basics, But everything within that is just like it's not intricate, it's not difficult, but it's like you can't just pick up on it just by going out there for your first time. Like, there's no way.
And there's
No.
levels to it, whether you're at like a municipal or like a private course. I mean,
Yeah.
I could not handle myself the way that we handle ourselves at Ely, as opposed to the way that we would at like a private course. I would get read.
Yeah, I was gonna say like growing up with a little old Sullivan County course, we could kind of do whatever we wanted to some extent, and then it's like, I don't know, just thinking about stuff, courses back home. You go to like Lockmore or Terry Bray where they actually keep things like up to par and no pun intended, and like actually clean and kept.
Fired.
But just the difference, because I know when we go out to like Lockmore or something, you need to have like a polo and at least shorts, like nice shorts or pants, to play. Like it's not like you can just show up with a t-shirt and some jorts. even though that would be pretty sweet to Golfin. It's like you actually have to present yourself, show up, and like actually, main thing is pace of play, because you don't want to hold the rest of the people up that paid for a round as well, especially if you're playing 18 and you got the same cats behind you since like hole 2. So no one likes that. No one enjoys being stuck behind a group of 4. No one likes being that group of 4 that's making everyone else wait either.
No,
Some
you
people don't notice.
bring up a great point with that. Yeah.
I was gonna say some people don't notice. Like I've been that group before, where I look back and then I see 3 people on a tee box, 3 different groups, and I'm like, that's not
I will say though, there's like a fine line between the people who golf slow and are aware, and then the people who golf slow and aren't aware. That line is their, I don't even know if it's their pride, maybe it's their ignorance. That whatever that line looks like, it's the people who are self-aware. They're very easy to golf with because you can go up to them, be like, "Hey, we're gonna play through. You guys are going a little slow. Like I hope that's cool." Or you ask them, be like, one way or the other, you're getting by. It's just how do you want to approach it? Do you want to be an a-hole and just be like, "Hey, we're going. You guys are slow. Like later," or it's like, "Okay, here's what's going on. You guys are golfing a little slow. Is it cool if we play through?" And if they're chill, I've been one of those chill golfers where it's like, "Yeah, like, we got a slow group. I'm golfing with new people. Go ahead." But then if you're in that group of not aware people, it's like if you ask them, it's like you're offending their golf game. It's like, well, how dare you? I'm keeping up with the pace of play. Like, what do you mean? Like, there's people in front of us. Meanwhile, the people in front of them are like 2 tee boxes away. So
Every time. Yeah, no, it's like I don't know. I've always let people play through because I'm either playing with someone who's a little less experienced. I by no means am amazing, but I can at least keep pace of play or understand when I need to get moving. I want to give the time of day to the people that I'm playing with as well, so that they actually have time to enjoy it. So it's just like, okay, well, why don't you guys play through? I know you're a 3-man, and I only got one other person, but we're taking longer than you guys. So why don't you just play through? Like, we'll wait at the tee, you guys can tee off, and then we'll just go from there. Majority of the time, they're happy to go through, or they'll say, no, take your time. Like, we're not worried. We got a long day. It's either one, usually. Yeah. It's like, just take your time, have a good time. We're in no rush. We're just going to sip some beers or something. And it's usually one of those 2 occurrences. Sometimes you'll get that old man that's just like, either ripping a cart or walking his little, whatchamacallit, his push cart. And he'll, I'll say, like, you can play through, man. And he'll look at me. And then he'll just walk up to the tee, hit his ball. Like, he has that weird backswing.
talking about mine? Is that subtweet?
No, yours is another breed, Eric.
wow. Roasted on the breakfast pod.
But yeah, no,
It's like a social awareness thing too. I mean, I feel like people, I don't know, the same people that are rude to waiters and waitresses at restaurants are the same type of people that have no social awareness on the course, won't let you play through and whatnot. And I don't know. I even think about when you're working on the greens. I mean, like that one guy I took a picture of, and he was just standing there like this, and you were literally mowing the green, making the course better, and the guy's standing there like.
Yeah, the hands on hips people are my favorite.
Oh, those are the people I'm like, well, you're not playing through. I'm sorry.
Well, I will say
you're gonna be waiting.
It's like an impatience thing with those people. I feel like like you said, they don't have those internal mannerisms, so it's like they've never worried about it in their life because they're the type of people who don't give a damn. They're there. Everyone else around them is the problem.
First person syndrome.
Which like whatever, teach their own. Go golf. Like whether or not you're good at golf, bad at golf, you can't always ask like these people to be super serious and use etiquette. It just happens. Like it's whatever. But it is funny because talking about like you being in a threesome, having let a foursome go by in the past. We saw it bad the other day. Eric wasn't golfing with us, but I'm sure it's had happened to him before. There was a twosome in front of a foursome that was in front of us. Like our group there was 5 of us. So it was a 2v2, and then Meg was out. And the foursome that was in front of us awfully slow, ridiculously slow. I actually think they were playing team ball too, just horribly slow. Wanted to cry every hole. The guys in front of them, two people, mind you, and I don't know, they're new to the game, first year golfing, whatever, and they're taking every shot seriously. 3, 4 practice swings. They're going up to the ball, and then they hit it 10 feet, 15 feet, 2.5 feet, and they're hitting like 10s, 15s on every hole. And I didn't know that they were doing that up until we finish hole 6 on, it's a local course up by us, going to hole 7. And these guys are on the tee box, and I thought they jumped out in front of us. I'm like, okay, I would do the same thing, like sometimes, like if the course is packed. Two-some goes faster than a foursome, whatever, I get it. But also waiting behind that foursome, I went up to them, I'm like, what the do you guys think you're doing? Like, how are you going to jump in front of us? And then they were just like, no, we've been golfing. And I'm like, what are you talking about? We just saw you guys come out here. And they're like, no, we let that foursome go in front of us. And I'm like, I'm trying to compute this in my head. And I'm just like, foursome in front of a twosome? That just doesn't make sense to me. And they're like, and then I watched them golf. And I'm just like, okay,
it makes sense now.
This makes sense now. This a lot of sense. They shoot like 14 strokes, a piece in this entirety of a par 3, mind you. Par 3. And it took them, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes, it felt like, probably, give or take. And then we only, had a couple holes to play. We let them play in front of us, whatever. But it was like, knowing they had to get skipped by a foursome, wow. And then having to watch them play golf, whoa. Like, it was not good. Not good at all.
Am I allowed to ask a question?
Oh, of course.
I have 2 questions. What's what's an okay amount of practice swings before a shot? And then what would you say for like a public municipal that we would normally like frequent? What would you say is the okay time frame for per hole? Not par 3, it's just like par 4, par 5.
I feel that. Ian, if you want to answer that first, I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say like a good amount of practice swings to take. I usually take between 1 to 2. Usually it's like 1. If I feel good on that practice swing, then I'll go for the shot. If I feel like something ain't right on that first swing through, then I'll take my second one, and then I'll take my shot. I think any more than that, you start thinking too much about like how you're going to hit the ball and then where it's going to go. Like, it's going to go where it's going to go because that's how you hit it. I mean, like, there's nothing you could really change about that. So it's like doing like 8 practice swings is just pointless. I mean, any more than 2, I say, is a little too much, and then any more than 4 is just way too much.
No, that's fair. That's really fair.
And I think it's like, I think that's also like a rule as well. I think you're only allotted 2 practice swings, like per shot.
I don't think that's
There's
real.
gotta be for pace of play. If you played in high school and that's a rule, that's probably a rule.
Well, I'm looking it up right now.
Well, for me, I know if I'm taking a practice swing, usually it's just 1. I don't take a practice swing on the tee anymore. Maybe with an iron, I will, but not my driver. And then when I'm out, fairway, in and around the green surrounds, I'm taking like, just little short choppy ones just to see my tempo, and then I'm going. Or 1 full practice swing and then I'm going. But also, I don't stand over the ball for 48 hours and like think about it before I swing on it. I'm at address, thought's gone, swing away, and then moving on. Like, I'm not trying to chat with someone. I'm not taking 8 days to like clean my club after and like finagle my bag and pull out an umbrella, eat a granola bar. Like, there's so many people that just add minutes onto the round because they're not golfing. They're like socializing.
That's what I'm saying.
You got to do both. You got to be able to multitask. It sucks, but it's true.
And if you're going and you're behind me, I'm halfway already up to my ball. I walk up, I won't lie.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm thinking about my club that I want. There's 2 clubs that I'm choosing between. I'm thinking about the shot that I want, and then by the time you're done swinging, I should be able to take my practice swings and go because I should have already thought about what I'm going to do with that shot.
Yeah.
If you're
Exactly.
not doing that, having any social awareness while your other friends are golfing, that's when the time years
So what's your number for practice swings then?
If I can't figure it out after two, it's not gonna get any better.
Yep.
Swing is my swing, like Ian said. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's not a range round. It's not a range practice.
No, no. Yeah, that I agree with. That's a good point. He brings up an amazing point. It's not a range round. The range is the range. The course is the course. Like, don't get me wrong. Hit a couple balls out there. Like, if you're playing with buddies, if you have the time, there's nobody behind you, and you guys are cool with it, hit a few balls. Like, that's fine. But also, you're not standing over, each of those balls like you would in a normal round, or you're playing money for or whatever. You're just
Right.
kind of practicing, so to say. But you're still on the course. Like, you're still reading your putts. You're still thinking about your club selection from the fairways, and then you're also, going to each tee box with intent. It's not one of those things where you shouldn't use a golf course as a practice round, but you should know that the course is not the range. So don't take 35 divots out of the fairway. Don't take 8 shots off the tee and divot half the spot you have available. Um, and also, don't like putt 40 times. Like, it's cool if you miss a putt, bring it back, putt just to see like how you missed whatever. That makes sense. But don't do that and then go pick a different spot on the green, do the same thing. And then go and pick a different spot on the green, do the same thing. Don't do that. Please don't do that.
It's just an asshole right there.
Like, I get it. If there's not people behind you, you guys are like messing around. Maybe you're trying to figure out part of your game. Like, if I was with Eric and he was trying to tell me to do something and like I wanted to see like how it felt or whatever, different story entirely. Like, that's fine because we were talking about it. We're not holding anybody up. That's okay. I get that. Been there, done that. But it's
Right.
the opposite when things get hairy and it's like, okay, come on, big guy, let's go.
Like the course is open and there's three other people out on the course. That's one thing. Like when we were out there on the course is pretty empty. You want to take a few extra shots at the time. But Saturday round, and back, and back, and you're doing stuff like that.
Right.
Jail.
Straight to jail.
Straight to jail. Do not pass go.
Do not collect 200. So to clarify,
Yeah, sorry.
I was going to say, yeah, to clarify on the practice swings in golf, number of practice swings, there is no limit. But, however, some say that 1 or 2 practice swings is usually enough before it's your turn to hit. But,
Very reasonable.
yeah, accidentally hitting the ball on your practice swing is a 1-stroke penalty.
I thought it wasn't.
changed with because there wasn't there a guy in the PGA that was doing that. He was hitting it not on address. I literally did that in front of you
Zach
guys.
Johnson, yeah.
He
used
did
to
that
do
in
it
front of
all
you.
the
You were
time.
like, you didn't address that.
I thought that was no stroke penalty because it was accidental.
Let's see.
Is that the USGA website?
Yeah. Hold on.
Start handing out strokes. Oh, here's one for you. That's weird.
If you were watching the second round of the Masters,
You're talking about swings, practice
amount
swings.
of like what do you think is the proper like pace to play for like a public municipal,
Oh,
not like
yeah.
a private club? Like we just said 8 minutes, 12 minutes. 'Cause I think we run on like 8, 9. I could be wrong.
When we're playing in like a foursome or sometimes even the six-some's probably like 20 to 22 minutes, sometimes 25.
Per
It's
hole?
like par 5. That's what it is. It ends up like 20 minutes.
Well,
Like
yeah,
six-
we-
okay, so
People we play with, it takes 7 practice swings
Yeah.
per shot.
But 20 minutes like is something I've seen that like longer holes ends up being like that. But if you're in a two-some, you're probably finishing in a hole under 15 minutes easily, and you're only over that if you're out of bounds, if you guys are playing like a second ball, something like that, or it's a longer hole, something that's more difficult. So for me, I'm not finishing holes in like 10 minutes unless I'm by myself, and I'm absolutely playing good golf. I'm ripping, like sometimes even faster. But if I'm playing with people, I expect a longer hole to be up to 20, especially if there's people in front of us are waiting for. And then shorter holes like par threes, if you're playing with less people and you guys are like decent golfers, around 15, like he said, 12 minutes maybe. So
Mm.
I don't know. But like municipal courses, that makes sense. Bigger courses, it could be longer because I feel like I can go subsequent holes where I'm losing golf balls and I'm looking around, or I hit a ball that I couldn't find, because it was at a course I'm not familiar with, stuff like that. So I don't know, what do they say, like between 4 hours and 4.5 hours is like a pretty standard pace of play.
Yeah.
So 18 holes, 4 hours, whatever that is, whatever that math is, you know, just don't it's a golf etiquette. I finish rounds in 5.5 hours. I finished round in like 3 hours, 45 minutes. It's one of those things where it's like it's all situation.
It's all
100%.
dependent on the course, dependent on the weather conditions, dependent on
Weather,
if you got
sure.
people in front of you, whether you got people behind you. It's all dependent on the day. Some days, obviously, you play better than others, so that also comes into a heavy account. And then it's kind of just all of that mashed together. It's just however you're playing, weather conditions, and people. And then also course, of course. Ha. But like obviously a shorter course or like a smaller course, kind of like Twin Village in Roscoe, very small backyard course. It's a 9-hole course. You don't even need your driver. Like that's how small it is. That you can do in like 2 hours tops, maybe less than that, like an hour and a half. And or you can play other bigger courses that could take you upwards of like 2.5, 3 hours just to finish 9. I don't know. I've never experienced that, but I'm sure it's possible. There are much larger courses around.
What's the largest par course you guys have ever played?
73 probably. That was like one course though. I can't remember which one it was, but I saw it once and I thought it was weird. I'm like, whoa, 73.
Usually 70 or 72.
Yeah,
What I-
71. So I've seen 70 par, and then this. I think that par 9 course for 18 is like par 67 or something like that. Because it's like everything's condensed. There's like a mostly par 3s with like a sprinkling of par 4s, so it's like everything's low. There's no par 5s.
Yeah.
70, 35, 35.
70 I've seen, 71. I mean, Ely, where we work, 71. I've seen plenty of 72s. That's kind of like a normal standard. The front and the back are like 36, or it's like a staggered 135, 137. But yeah, the short, like the backyard courses Ian was talking about, I played it, more than just the ones that he was talking about in Roscoe. But they're all pretty much in that same family where par is going to be somewhere between 65 and 70. And there's either like one par 5 that is like really a par 4 because the course is short. But these courses are perfect for beginners, 1. 2, a lot of par 3s, so good iron practice. And then also it teaches you pace to play. If you can play those courses pretty quickly, then those shots will develop on a bigger course. And yes, it's going to take longer. That's just how it is. The longer the course, the more shots you're going to take. The more difficult the course is, the longer you're going to take. So like I was saying earlier, it's situation. So don't be a routinely bad golfer and go and try and play, some PGA prep tours. You're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, no, I mean, I really like the little like 9-hole courses. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
like kind of where, I learned on one, so it was always been fun just kind of screwing around and learning everything and kind of adjusting to it all. And then you find smaller ones. And those are just fun to play on. I really never had a bad time on a small 9-hole course that you can literally just leave your driver in your trunk and be all right. So
it's like the beer league courses, where they don't care. You bring all your own alcohol in, whatever. Bring whatever you want. And like you were saying earlier, those courses is where you're finishing rounds in like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It's like quick golf,
quick golf.
and then you're back at it.
This guy.
But as far as like being able to play that course, I agree. I've had the most fun at like those backyard courses. Where I went to school up in Alfred. I think Ian, did you get to play at Vanderview before they closed?
No, I never got the chance.
So the most epitomized backyard course you'll ever see, literally someone's house, backyard, and he had like the big batting cage fences like looped around his house.
Yeah.
But everything else was like mowed with like a zero turn, like a bigger zero turn. The greens were
Just mowed in.
mowed like like once every 2 weeks. It felt like. So it was like super ruggy, very carpeted greens. Tee boxes were falling off of hills, and they were like this big. They were tiny. They what?
Closed.
Yeah, they stopped it because he couldn't like keep up with the budgeting. Like there wasn't enough people coming into play, and it was 9 holes. Like don't get me wrong, and the rough was like usually pretty thick. There was like 2 random ponds on the course that you had to hit over. It was awesome, and everything was short. Like it was like the longest par four was like 240 yards or something like that. Everything else was less than that, which what made it so fun because you could drive greens. Like the par threes were 80 yards long, easy wedge in, and it was just like if you missed the green, then it was the worst shot you've ever taken. So it was like perfect course to not worry about. People divoted the greens, it felt like, and it was just like whatever. Who cares? It's fine. It'll heal.
Grass will grow back.
Grass, it'll come back.
It's grass.
That's the thing too, taking care of the grass. That's one of those other subcultures of golf where it's like you can't always depend on the people going out there to be practicing that etiquette consistently.
No.
Like that's one thing, but if you're like, if you're an old man, say like, I'll use 65 to 80, and you're out there taking however many shots, like 80 for regular strokes, and then say like 30 practice strokes, it's 110 swings. If you can take 110 swings 4 or 5 times a week, you can bend over, pick up your divot, throw it back, you can fix a ball mark. If not, I mean, they had those little things you can put on the end of your putter for the old fellas and just go, and
Those are sick.
They just, our course just gets eaten up, and it's something I think about all the time.
I have nightmares.
And it's one thing if they're new to the game, don't know like the etiquette of like preparing what you're supposed to prepare. That's one thing. I like let it slide. People get that. People grow into the game. But if you've been playing for 30 years, because we have other things to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just clean up after yourself. Have that etiquette to just like obviously you paid to play here. Most people get it in their minds. It's like, oh well, I paid to play here, so I don't need to, I don't need to take care of. I could do whatever I want. It's, I paid. No, just treat. It's like if someone came up, and like, you were working on something on your laptop, and they just immediately went, and like, completely mashed your keys like while you were typing something up, and obviously no one would want that. So don't go around slamming divots, leaving them just chilling in the fairway, or more than likely chilling in the rough because you suck at golf. Or if you divot the green, like if you make a shot, slam one and it makes a massive hole, just use your tee. That's all it takes. You have a tee, get the tee, pull it up a little bit. At least try to level it out as much as you can. You don't have to do it perfectly. Just do it. Just the intention behind it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
The attitude, like you said, like the people like, oh, I pay to play here. The help will get it. It's like, yeah, we will.
But
We ain't gonna
you guys
enjoy
both
it.
make a good point. Those people will pay to play, but they're not the only people playing that. Everyone's repair is immediately helpful for the group coming through behind them. And then if it's a continual reaction, everyone that's repairing their pitch marks, everyone that's putting their divots back, they're just making the course continually playable for everyone coming behind them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just it's nice to the people that are also coming through, and it's nice to you guys who work on a course, because at least at that point, yeah, you can take care of it however you need to. But it's also just healthier for the overall course in general. I mean, you're cutting grass pretty damn low, and more than likely it's going to have some issue. So
I feel like 15 feet, like a circumference around the green, like around the pin. That's what you really need to take care of. Like, if you leave stuff around the edges, whatever, I will get that. But I mean, nobody wants to putt through your marks.
No.
You should think about that. It's not that hard to wrap your brain around.
No.
Because if I
No.
putt through somebody's mark and some crater jostles it left or right, and I think that was going in, that's going to sit rent-free in my head for 3 or 4 holes.
And it's funny because as you know, as greenskeepers, it's one of those things where we're more um, I don't know if aware is the word, but when we're playing, we're looking out for stuff like that because we're already maintaining it on a daily basis. So when I go to other courses, um, it's not often, but when I am repairing a divot from a fairway or a tee box, putting sand down, whatever, or repairing ball marks on greens, I'm thinking about their crew and also like, okay, I know what it feels like at my course when I'm absolutely obliterating greens or I'm taking out beaver tail divots that are, the size of my arms. And it's just like, I get it. I don't want to be that guy who has to mow over it or get off the mower and chuck it in the rough or repair 37 ball marks on the green in the morning. It takes you 10 minutes to punch every one. It's one of those things where it's just like I feel their pain, so I would want to put my best foot forward to give them a chance to know it's like I get it. I'm gonna take care of my mistakes, my misses, whatever the general use is, and that's golf. Like you come into golf respecting the course you're playing on, even if you pay for it. Like your payment isn't just free access to mess up the course and be a demon. Like your payment is as if you're going to like a beach and you have to pay access. You're not gonna go into the ocean and just huck your garbage in there because you feel like it. Like you're going there for the access. You're going there to do exactly what it was. And in this case, golf is a sport. So you're going to use something that's not yours. You're basically renting that time for the day. So do your job, and it's about the etiquette, and everyone in and around golf that actually has some type of like mental sense will absolutely tell you they love when people are actually aware of what they're doing. They're repairing stuff, they're taking care of the tees, they're not driving their golf carts into ditches, stuff like that. It's I mean it happens, don't get me wrong, mistakes are made, whatever. And then Eric was talking about noobs, they'll learn because they'll go out with people that know what's going on. And that's the best part about it. For every person that's been playing the game for a long time, there's people and generational understanding that come after them that are like, oh, how do you do this, that, and that? Or, oh, when this happens to you, what do you do? Like, I don't know how many times I've networked with golfers where it feels like I'm learning something new every time I meet someone new. And it's cool. And it's always been the case.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Learning stuff from like anybody. Like you go out with somebody new, there's always something you can learn. Good golfer, bad golfer, there's something you can pick up from anyone.
Right.
And that's just like a case of like life. I mean, you can learn stuff from anyone.
Absolutely. In the most general sense. And it just so happens, golf is right there along with it. You can get wisdom in the game. And I love talking to the older people, especially when they're like happy to talk to you. And sometimes, they'll chew your ear off with what they're talking about, but it's always usually in, a humoristic way. Like they're always, I won't say always, it's mostly kind. Um, and they're pretty generous with like advice they give you and stuff. And also they just like to see younger people playing. And it's like when you hit a good shot and you're playing with a cool old guy, oh my god, they're celebrating like crazy. They're like, that was a sick shot, and it's just like, not everyone else is hyping you up when you're out there, but these guys like they want you to succeed, because they've been there, they've done that, they've played the game for however long, and it's cool, it's nice.
Yeah, it's just like, even if you're not learning something necessarily about the game, sometimes it's just perspective.
Yeah.
Kind of a different view on your game altogether. Because some of those old cats just like to go out and enjoy themselves. And then it's like once you start actually like thinking like, okay, well, why not, instead of stressing about the 13 duffs that I had prior to this hole, why don't I just relax, have a good time, drink a couple beers, and be okay, like just relax and just enjoy myself. Once you hang out with enough the older guys, you begin to learn. It's like, okay, well, I'm gonna be upset about it, but I'm gonna continue on to the next hole and not care. I'm gonna be thinking about it, but I'm gonna be trying to do better.
And like most of that sadness and like pressure comes from yourself. It's not like they're expecting you to play awesome and stuff like that. And seeing somebody else struggle and like still keep a smile on the face makes me kind of like, think of myself like, why am I beating myself up so bad? I could be at work. I could be out fishing, getting no bites. Like there are much worse places to be than on the golf course playing bad.
Listen, man, you brought up fishing. a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at work. And you could say the same about golf.
Golf, yeah.
So, great thing to think about right there.
So we're putting the homies on the wisdom-filled golf vibes, and that's I don't know. I would say golf. You know, you can make it as competitive as you want, but for the most part, it is a leisure sport. You know, it's almost like a skill game. You know, of course, like you have to be able to learn the swing. You know, you can be an athlete for the majority of it, like if you've played baseball or golf in your past and you're coming back to the game. It's one of those things you don't really lose. You know, that swing gets better over time the more you play. Well, for some people, I guess. Um, but it's nice in that way that you can go out and be that person on the golf course, you know, whichever way you want to go. Be competitive and try to, you know, beat personal goals. Or, you know, for some people, you know, they go into the pro shop, what's the course record, you know, and they're feeling super hype about it. Or you have the exact opposite spectrum where they know they're bad. They have like probably the cheapest, worst clubs out there that they grabbed out of like some super old yard sale, and the clubs are from 1978. And it's just like, I'm here, I got clubs, and that's it. That's all they need, you know. And these guys that aren't even drinking, they're not smoking, they're just like, yeah, golf, man. Those are my favorite people that like come out because you can golf with them, and they could be horrible, absolutely terrible, but they have the biggest vibe ever, and it's just like, yes, bring me more of this. This is how I play good golf with people that aren't just in their head or ragging on you or themselves or just like really bringing down like negative energy. Where it's just like, all right, it's just a game. Chill out. Like it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was that guy for a while. I had the oldest clubs in comparison to anyone. I mean, I still have my same irons. I love those irons, but
Yeah, if they work, you know. I mean,
yeah, I can't complain about the good old Spalding irons, dude.
Spalding, baby.
Spalding
Things-
slept on.
Dude,
It's my back wedge, my Spalding.
Dude,
It's sick.
there's so many sports. I mean, they cover not just straight up golf. They cover volleyball, basketball. They are across the board.
Soccer, lacrosse,
Football. They have
tennis.
any type of ball they have.
No, that's true. They are great balls. I will say. Great ball.
Good balls.
Good
good
balls.
balls.
Great balls.
Yes. No,
Shout
but
out
the
Spalding. Thank you for the sponsor in the future. But seriously, if I did have to say, if you're a person trying to get into golf, everyone makes golf to be out as a super expensive game, and it can be, and they do call it a doctor's game. That's completely true. But there's also a really good opportunity to not make it so. You can ask a couple relatives to give you some old clubs. We were just talking about buying 1978 golf clubs out of a yard sale. That's real life.
Used clothes.
Used clubs. You can go on eBay,
Yeah.
Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist. There are people happily giving away free clubs even. I've seen that. That's how I got my set. And I had to, you know, grab another couple from Marketplace or eBay or whatever. But it slowly builds. And you're going to have to learn the clubs anyway. So, for example, if you're a person who can only get their hands on like a putter, a wedge, and a driver, perfect place to start. Like, you'll get some irons. Maybe you'll put like a few random clubs together. It could be like pitching wedge through 8 is you know, by Titleist, and then 7 through 4 is like by Wilson or something. Who cares? Like, you have a golf set. Go ahead and use it. You know, I
Yeah,
never
use-
judge anyone for bringing in like 30 different brands of clubs because it's like the game's already expensive. You got to pay for the round, you got to pay for the balls, you got to pay for the range time, and then sometimes you're even paying for extra for cart fees or weekend fees if you're going early. Like if you're playing early, it's way more expensive than playing later in the day, and it adds up. And you know, I hate to see people go out and, you know, drop like a paycheck on a round of golf, you know, and they get to be there for 4 hours, and it's like, well, I got some cool pictures, and it's like, just wait till you're good at golf to go places like that. Come golf at your local course where you can pay $20 and golf all day long and not have to worry about anything. That's a vibe right there, and that's where you get good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was thinking about getting a new set of irons
Yeah.
here, because like that's like the one thing, either that or just like looking for a new putter or both.
Putters are
And I'm not-
expensive, too, and
yeah.
it's not easy to get your hands on good ones.
Truthfully, I would really like a ping putter, but those are also extremely expensive. Um, but that's besides the point. I was looking at irons, and I was like, okay, maybe I should like kind of match with my driver. Maybe you go for TaylorMade. Um, yeah, no, don't go TaylorMade, dude, because that's like $1,300 for like a set of irons,
But they have
brand
the
new.
best
That's brand
warranty.
new. What
He's right. They do have the best warranty.
do they?
You could ding them up 2 years later, and they'll be like, "Oh, we don't make the Sims anymore. We'll send you the QI20 or whatever it is, the QI10 or whatever the new club is."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Do they just do that for drivers or irons too?
No, they do that for irons. Like if you have like a mistake in the club, you can send it back and be like, well, it doesn't work anymore. And they'll be like, well, here you go.
Yes, but Ian, don't make the mistake of like buying from like if you're gonna do it, buy it from TaylorMade. Or
Oh
like,
yeah,
I think
yeah.
You can buy it through Dick's too, and they'll you could pretty much assure that you're good to go as far as warranty's sake. But it is true, the P770s are ridiculously expensive.
Yeah. I mean, like, I wasn't looking at, like, top of the line irons here. Like, I wasn't looking at, like, the brand new ones that just came out. I was just scrolling through. I found some nice sets. It's just, they're still just expensive. You're looking upwards of, like, $800 to $1,200 for, a full set of irons. Because I don't want just a certain amount. I use my irons up to a 3-iron, so I want a full set.
Yeah.
My irons are pretty much everything. But I also got to get out and actually try some and like see how they feel and make sure this is like what I would like before I just go and buy some, because I could absolutely hate them and I just dropped a full paycheck on it.
That's what I was going to buy clubs without hitting them. That would be.
Yeah.
I did that. Wasn't really the smartest idea. I ended up getting lucky and liking them, but I also didn't feel bad because the Tomos that I bought were only $550 for pitching
Ah.
3-3. No, yeah, 3-3. So, I mean, that's not terrible.
Not at all. No, you got a steal there, honestly.
P790s. I mean, if I didn't hit those and say you spend like 1,200, 1,300, and then I don't like them, I mean, I'm living with that mistake and living rent free in my head for probably a entire season, maybe two.
Probably the next 4 years, honestly.
But that's the thing, like, go get fitted. Like, you
Yeah.
have local places that'll do that. Of course, you got to pay money. Again, it's golf. You got to pay money for everything. But they'll do it to help you, and especially if you're serious. Like golf clubs are basically like investing in a small car. Like you're basically making an investment that you want to be sure about because it's so much money. So even if you're dropping 100, 200, whatever it is for a fitting, go to a couple sessions, then at least you know that you're comfortable, and then you're also getting a very specific length set to your club, so you're not just buying something and just hoping that it fits your height and like your stance and everything. So it's a process, but the process is worth it, especially if you're starting to golf more, you're getting good at stuff, and then you don't want to, have that 30 brand golf bag where your friends are continually making fun of you every time you come out. It's one of
No,
those
yeah.
things. It's just golf, man. Eventually you evolve. Like I still haven't bought like a good putter. I still have like a little $15 putter, but it like hits putts for me. Don't care. And then also the rest of my bag minus my driver, I like kind of assembled like from free stuff. So eventually, like I'll make tiny upgrades, like my wedges first, probably before I go irons, and then maybe eventually I'll grab my own woods, that actually match instead of have two different brands and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things. Every club in the bag is like a pretty steep price. Drivers can, go all the way from 250 to like $700. Putters are the same thing, and you could be paying more for the bigger brands like Scotty Cameron. Even some major Odyssey putters are a lot of money.
Odyssey, yeah.
Like you said, your
Major
irons,
bank.
like what did you say? 1,300 for like a pretty mid-average set or something like that from Titleist?
No,
I'm
13.
talking about the 790.
Oh, I was like, if that's an average
Yeah,
set.
what set were you talking about?
No, that was just sitting at the top. Like when I opened up the website, it was like sitting up top. It was like 1,300 for whatever set it was. I didn't see specifics. But like as you went down, of course, it got a little bit cheaper. They had some sales and such, but the sales were like, oh, it's down from $1,200 to $900. It's like
Dude,
that's still a
if
it's,
you're gonna do it, wait till Black Friday because you'll probably be able to save like 400, $500. 100%.
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, like 1,200 down to 900 still good because I'm not paying $1,200, but
Yeah.
still it's like I'm still dropping like $1,000 on this set. And now mind you, I haven't really changed up my clubs for like 8 years.
Yeah.
So like I've had the same irons like from when I started, like maybe 9 years when I started playing golf. To some extent, I upgraded my iron. I upgraded my putter, which wasn't like major upgrades. My driver is a TaylorMade. I think I only spent like 145 on it, which was relatively cheap, but still a solid driver. I have no complaints with it. Putter I got from Sal, if you remember Zach. He had like a putter
Yeah.
in the shop, and I
Shout
bought it
out
for like
Sal.
$75. So I have that, and then like I was originally using like actual woods, like real wood heads in my bag when I first started playing.
Like percentage.
Um,
What?
like original like woods, yeah.
My grandpa had some old clubs that he was toting around for a little bit.
Yeah,
just
and
a
they
little
actually.
more fun to hit than anything.
I was gonna
don't
say
remember,
they.
I don't remember if Ian could hit them very well, but there were a couple times where I watched him roast some balls for sure.
Yeah, no, it like once if you made contact with it and like got good contact with it, that thing went flying. Like it was beautiful and it felt amazing hitting it. But
It
when
was
you hit a
beautiful.
bad shot, oh, it was a bad shot. Because like a lot of the ones I had were upgraded with their like shafts, so they were actually like steel shafts.
Yeah.
So the problem with that is that the wood just, I guess it just vibrates so much if you hit it wrong because there's also a metal plate on the bottom of it to support it. It like vibrates through the entire like shaft and it like really hurt my hands after a bit. But there was one club that actually still had like a wooden shaft that I still have, not in my bag. I have it back home, but I didn't want to like use it anymore because it was literally all wood. Which it was a sweet club. The thing hit like a dream, but I had to stop playing with it because I was like, I'm gonna snap this wooden shaft, like I know I am. So that one's still at home, safekeeping. But yeah, no, basically I've had all the same.
You hang up.
Yeah, pretty much. Like that thing's a beast. Like it's sweet. I'll have to bring it up and show both of you. I don't know if you got to see it, Zach.
And you said it's from your grandfather, so it's got sentimental value.
That one may have been. I don't know. I
That
know the
one
with
definitely
the
was.
steel- Was it?
Yeah, the wooden shaft was from Grandpa.
Retire that because
Yeah.
I've had clubs like that and I broke them, and there's no replacing that.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, no, that wooden shaft, I think it was a driver, either that or a 3-wood. That one I kept, because that was the only one I think we got from Grandpa. But the others I got from the Phillips, actually. I think it was Dave that lent me the set, and then I ended up keeping them. So.
That's actually
But-
sick. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm-
remember the ones that we had that had the steel. Maybe it was graphite shafts, but I think it was steel shafts with a wooden head. I remember that one, but I just don't remember ever seeing that full wooden shaft and club head.
Yeah, no, we still got it back at the house.
Sick.
The thing is cool. But I don't
They
think.
wouldn't swing that. But it's
Yeah.
cool to like see where it evolved from. Like having golfed, I think almost 7 years now. I'm still a learner in the game. Obviously, like I've come a long way from where I used to be. I used to be awful, but it's one of those things where if you keep at it, like I was saying earlier, you're gonna meet a lot of cool people. You're gonna be able to find new people to golf with, and that was something that we were talking about just the other day, where it was like golfing alone versus golfing with people, and it's different because when you're alone, you make a couple good shots. Sometimes you'll play better because there's not like a lot of distraction, and it's one of those things where it's like when you do make good shots, it's like, oh, nobody's around to see that.
This is a story.
But at least when you're with a group, you hit a good shot, whatever, like, oh my gosh, like, and you got witnesses and stuff, totally different vibe. But then it's also that extra distraction, or if you're playing competitively, it's that extra like get in your head mental toughness where we've played a lot of competitive golf with people who love to shit talk. So it's one of those things where it's like inevitable that you're gonna have a duff, and you're gonna hear about how bad you are at golf, and that there's no way your next ball is gonna be any better. You know, stuff like that.
Quit playing.
Yeah, quit playing. What the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah, no, the shit talking is probably the best part. I haven't really played too much golf by myself. It's usually with one other person.
Yeah.
And truthfully, I think that's why I like playing golf, because you can just go out with anyone, and I shouldn't say that. You can go out with people that you like to golf with or like to hang out with, because if you go out with anyone, then it's an interesting story. But
When did you guys like really get into golf? Because for me, it was 2019 when everything locked up. I couldn't go out. Couldn't go out to eat with friends. Couldn't go out to drink with your friends. And that's when I got into golf, because it was one of the only activities that you could go out and socially distance and
Yeah.
be around your buddies.
I want to say,
Go ahead,
like, yeah, I was gonna say, I think it got started in like 2016. It was either 2015 or 2016, because Zach and his buddy Grant like started playing, and then they wanted to like show me and see if I was interested in it, you know. So I started trying it out, and like I remember they took me to our high school, like where all like the fields are and everything, and we have this really big like hill where we have like the tennis courts, and then it drops off into like our soccer field and like baseball field, and it's like a gradual hill, but like it's a pretty steep drop off. So like we just sat up there, and just they had a bunch of golf balls in a bag, and they said, all right, well, let's try it, like, you know, try it out and see what you're feeling, see if you like it.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been like 2015, Zach.
It was. I think it was 2016. I think you were right on the nose, because I remember that was my senior year in high school, and that was when, right at the end of the year, I got into it. So it was like 2016, moving 2017 when I went to school, and then I was only playing once every couple of weeks, like with a few buddies. And then once I started the club at school, my late sophomore year, that's when I got super serious with it, because Alfred was paying our way to like play at places. So we kind of just went and golfed for free on the college's dime. But it was all just, you know, mess around golf. Like we'd go out with a foursome. Sometimes like there'd only be three of us, like whatever. And then there were some times where we'd go out in two groups. There'd be two foursomes because we had a bunch of people that wanted to play. And that was the best times, because you got to see how other people played golf, if they golfed before, and then if it was their first time, like they were still going for free, so they were just like, yeah, whatever, I'll go learn how to play golf. So it was like I kind of came up with like 50% people who didn't know how to do anything, and then 50% of people who were decent, you know, and could swing a club, and they could putt, and they knew the etiquette and stuff. So I learned with people that were noobs and people who were not veterans but have been around the game. And then it just exploded from there. And I think I got like really serious like senior year of college, and then up until now. And it's been like a pretty constant thing. Like now that I'm working at a golf course, you know, I'm playing, I don't want to say every day, but you know, it's getting close to that point. So I'm able to stay consistent and get out more often, and my swing feels less like a weird baseball change-up swing. And now it's like, okay, now I only remember my golf swing, and like my baseball swing is like escaping, you know, what I used to remember it as. So like that transition has come a long way. And for other people, like, don't think that your golf game is, you know, going to be a walk in the park to learn. Like that transition, it takes a while, and it's different for everybody.
Yeah, definitely took still till this day.
Yeah,
Till this day.
Still a learner of the game, still a student of the game, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And technically, I've been playing for about 8 years, so take that into account. I just don't play as frequent.
Yeah, that would put me right there with you. But
Yeah.
hey, listen, Ian, if you wanted to close us up here, I think we've about run into our wall here. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Thank you, Eric, for popping on the pod with us. We very much enjoyed your banter.
Thank you for having me.
And you know, as per usual, guys, if you're listening on Spotify, check us out on YouTube. If you're listening on YouTube, check us out on Spotify. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll catch you guys on the flippy flop. So peace out.
Good seeing you, Ian.